Hey, welcome back. It's weekly AI and engineering kind of work. I'm doing some experiments with AI, creating some agents to check out, like learning to see if it can help you explore and learn something that you read about. So specifically for some of my students, I'm having them use these agents to ask questions about reading assignments from our course material. So today I wanted to take a look at like how to, like, if I have lots of different websites, is there any way to like compile them into one? So I was going to try to use an AI, generate some code that sort of scrapes websites and puts them into just one file. Then I can create a website with all those resources all in one place, and then use that as my like resource for this AI, so it's referencing the spots that I want it to. So let's take a look. Let's see how it works. And I'm checking audio and video. And what I was thinking about is like these GitHub gists are a great way to just like grab a block of code and like have one file that is this. So let's see if there's an example here. Do they create? So this person like created like a little Python script that runs this gist create public file. So that might be the way to go. It just in the browser. And this was basically like this gist example was posted as an example piece of code. And it's a nice little place to like put things, and maybe this would be, if I look at the raw, I could use this link to tell Copilot like, hey, look here. Because if I go here, and let's see, if I create an agent, my agents, and edit this. So I created these like learning coaches, and I give it some instructions of saying like, hey, here are the skills that I want. These are the things that I want you to think about. Here's like, and then telling it like overall directions for what it should be asking for. And one of the things that I really like about this is the idea that it will use a guided reading comprehension. So it offers an interactive reading comprehension test and then give me an A, B, or C. So if I go in here and say I want to take the reading quiz and hit enter, it starts giving me questions about things that were in that reading of this module 4. And I want to see if I can do that for like general websites. Like, can I just give it a list of 4 or 5 different websites and put all of that information in one place? So let's see if I can do that. And let's just do a new chat. I need help creating a Python web scraping tool for AI use. I need you to play the role of a Python developer that needs to grab information from website articles and informational resources, then collect them in a raw text file so we can upload the text or HTML to a GitHub gist, and yeah, let's try that, because that's the first step that we need. Okay, so it needs what type. Should I scrapes articles given a list of URLs? That's what I want. Main content, ignore ads, saves raw text into HTML. Okay, so let's take this, copy it in here. We are targeting news sites, not blogs, and academic resources. We want, I think, HTML. The tool should handle multiple URLs at once. And the metadata, like title, author, publication date, should be included as headers. The tool should run once manually. So let's see if this helps it give us some Python code, then we'll try running it, see what we come up with. And I'm just trying my hand at a little bit of vibe coding today. Like, yeah, let's see if we figure this out. So here's an example output. Here we go. Copy this code. And oh, so it's using soup, beautiful soup, as our input. And all right, let's give it a shot. And so I'm just going to create a web scraper conda environment. Just grab all that. And then conda activate web scraper. Make that a little bigger. And we'll make like a little web scraper place to work in. Let's split this view. I like to have split view top bottom like that. cd web scraper ls. So vi, what is this file saved as? Nothing. So we'll save it as webscraper.py. Copy this stuff in. Conda activate web scraper, and we'll say Python web scraper. Oh, change into that directory. Python web scraper, nothing named requests in here. Conda in requests, and beautiful soup so I'm getting requests in there. Let's double check. How do we install this one? Beautiful soup. Quick start. How do I install? I want to install. Pip install beautiful soup 4. Try this one, pip install. Now we should be able to run Python web scraper. Oh, and these HTMLs were not working because we didn't really have anything. So let's look at wiki philosophy. We'll look at the Wikipedia entry for philosophy. And a Wikipedia entry for, I like engineering stuff, so let's do Kirchhoff plate theory. We'll see if there's any connection between philosophy and Kirchhoff plate theory. Oh, and then we want to come down here, run it again. Oh, so it saved 2 different text files in, because I didn't even check this code to see like what is it doing here. So let's see what these text files look like. I'll open up my en.wikipedia, Kirchhoff, and so it's a bunch of like stuff, just a text file. And text is fine, at least for AI. The formatting doesn't really matter as long as like the actual words and stuff are there. And some of it's not like great formatting, but again, it doesn't really matter as long as, yeah, we have the URL, so we know where it came from, and we know other stuff like that. Let's see if we can get, so this one's saving to a file, and really I want to cat all the files together. So extract, so we're using Beautiful Soup to extract all the content. We are saving to the file, and let's see, save to file, and that's what this one is doing. So I'm trying to see if there's a way to easily just say, all right, put it all in one file, or if we should just do one last thing to say like, okay, take these 2, because I could just say cat en Wikipedia Kirchhoff and en Wikipedia philosophy and put it into out.txt. So now when I look at my out up here, here's that Kirchhoff plate theory one, and then there's my philosophy Wikipedia page. So I've got a title separating each of these articles in here. Okay, cool. So we got that. Now let's see if I can grab this, automatically create a gist. We'll view this raw and then come back in here. So this is going to create gists using CLI, and let's see, do I have GH? No, I don't, so I'm going to have to install it. I think Alright, so let's go find GitHub GH install. Nope, I need the official. Arch. GitHub CLI cannot be installed from the Snap store. I don't really want to add snaps. GitHub CLI. Huh. You know, I don't know how to do this. I thought I had GH installed, but I guess I don't. I guess I could ask Copilot. How can I? Now we need a script to create a GitHub gist file from the txt file. So here's the analysis. Let's see. We could try this one. Is this all Python? Copy that code. We'll delete all this. Oh. Gotta do this. And let's see. Define create the gist. Uploaded by Python script. It's fine. And the file path. We'll say that it's out.txt. Personal access token. Ooh. Oh no. I don't really want to display those personal access tokens. That's weird. Bad credentials. All right, so let's try fade to black. let's see how that goes. We'll come over to my gists, see if there's something new. Oh, look, all right. We got an out.txt gist in here. And it's all the right stuff, right? So I'm gonna take this like output.txt and give it to Copilot. So I'm gonna create a new agent, create an agent. Let's configure it. Change the icon. We'll leave it. This is a reading comprehension agent for philosophy and Kirchhoff plate theory. And we'll give it a template of a learning coach. And let's delete this. Take a test. And show main concepts. Organize the content of the readings and give me the most important concepts and learning objectives. All right, now our URL, I'm gonna give it that gist output. Oh no, it can't be more than 2 levels deep because it's this thing and then raw and then that thing. All right, so then we need to go back up. That's a weird bug in this thing. So let's just try this one. All right, so now it's in there, and that's fine. And then let's give it the same instructions. All agents, or no, create agent, my agents, learning coach. I'm going to give it the same instructions in here. Because I have just some standard things that I wanted to do for reading comprehension, like interactive test, randomly asked questions from all of the reading concepts, da 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 da. All right, so go back to all my agents. Oh, create an agent. My agents. Let's edit this. Philosophy and plate. So let's, oh yeah, and then I want to do this. Nope, Control Z. I want to delete some of those. And that's fine. And then let's say 3 is like that. Let's create it and see what we get from this information. So we have all this kind of stuff from Kirchhoff-Love plates. And we'll see if it'll actually answer some questions about it. Let's go to the agent. Learn about a topic. Show me just the very first thing, the strain displacement relations for quasi-static plates. What was it? Strain displacement relations. Oh, interesting. So let's see. Is it grabbing that information? A little bit. It is getting some, but it seems like it's not really using the reference that I have here. All right, so let's look at something, maybe small strains, moderate rotations. Let's ask about this. Show me node directly relevant. And it comes back to these strains. Yes, I need more information about the constitutive equations for plates. Kirchhoff plates. So it seems to be just kind of pulling general information rather than pulling this specific information about these Kirchhoff-Love plates. And part of that might just be the formatting here. So let's go down, let's see what philosophy has. What did we get in here? And maybe it'll help to do. Jump to content. Let's see, what do we have in here? History. Let's ask about like history of philosophy. Maybe that'll be good. So I'm looking at this stuff. Maybe we'll just ask like, what is the definition of philosophy? What is the definition of philosophy according to the article in OUT.txt? So it doesn't seem to be checking on the things that I gave it for some reason. Maybe if I give it this specific thing. Yeah, for some reason it's not looking at that even though it is included. Yeah, that's a little weird. I thought I could reference this because it does seem to work at least a little bit. What I want to do is figure out, can it actually access specific information in these articles? So let's ask it that. Let's go back to this first conversation and say, how can I get a Copilot agent to look at specific website text information? All right, so give it an URL. Or if it's already saved, yes, use this URL. Meet GitHub's indexing restrictions, or I can paste the content. I mean, this should be yeah, it's a public gist, so there's nothing embed, share. Let's try to copy it. But it's not a private, it's very much not a private gist. Because now I'm looking at it as not even as a user. All right, so we'll try copying it in, right? But the character limit is exceeded. So we'll go back into here and we'll just paste in that output. See how that one works. So it seems to work a little better that way rather than giving it just directly. So I wonder if there's a way to like give it a website that's not a gist, but just because in this raw format, if it just didn't have this part there, it probably wouldn't make a difference, right? What if we create like a HackMD document? So we're going to come in here and we'll make logged in. Sign in. I gotta sign in with my GitHub account. There we go. Create a note. Paste in. I'm also hitting the character limits here. Because it's not, I mean, these files are not very large, or they just have a lot of lines of code. So that's why I was trying to do some way that way. But it doesn't seem to like that either. All right, I'll keep plugging away at this, because there's got to be a way that we can just plug that in. But anyway, now we have text. I need you to tell me the relationship between the two articles. So now instead of having this, so at least we got like our web scraping tool that can plug stuff into a text file. We can turn it into a text file and upload it back into Copilot and then tell it, okay, tell me what's the connection between the two. Philosophy is the foundation. Yeah, I would agree with that. And philosophy of science. Cool. Mathematical abstraction. So this is kind of some neat areas to explore if you were trying to figure out like what is the philosophy of this engineering theory, of some kind of engineering theory. Some of this is pretty broad, broad things like philosophy examines methods and assumptions, and so does engineering. Like, nothing really to get into some nitty-gritty there. Philosophy of math, and then like philosophy of math versus using math and engineering, that's a stretch, because I would argue that philosophy of math is not interested in a lot of applied math work. Oh yeah, create a visual diagram. What does that do? So as like a reading, and so this is one of the things that I was interested in, like how can AI create like a kind of a reading companion for some of this work? And it seems like it's doing a decent job. Like you can take different sets of information, like from the internet, all pipe it into some hard to read giant 6,000 line, or there we were looking at like 18,000 lines. Yeah, how many lines do we have down here? We are at how do I show the line numbers? I always forget in Vim. Then escape, set number. So 17,000 lines of text, a lot of it blank, but some of it not. And it's giving us some philosophy of science and modeling, math, Kirchhoff, engineering. Yeah, okay. Logic. I don't know why logic isn't somewhere over here in this group, but it's not bad. Created some kind of connection for us. which is, and again, this is kind of an interesting way of like taking a lot of information and seeing how it's connected. And there's more work that I would want to do for this, but within a few steps, right? Like all of this kind of, if we go from the beginning to where we ended up, we asked it to scrape some data for us. So it gave us a file that would use Beautiful Soup, scrape and create some text files for us. Then we told it to create share that file online. And this part we didn't end up using because it didn't really work the way we wanted it to. But we were able to take those two files, combine them, and put it back into our tool, and then tell it to summarize for us. And overall, that's kind of a cool way to use AI, and it'll accelerate some of the work that I try to do when I'm trying to make sense of a lot of different pieces of information. Maybe I could just pipe it all into a text file, upload it onto AI, and say, hey, tell me what the connection is between these 5 different sources. Maybe I think they're all important, but I just want to get some general idea of why they're important together. Anyway, that was kind of my ramblings for today of how to use this. Ideally, I'd like to have some kind of tool that can scrape the web, pump it into some kind of website, some kind of shareable website. So I just have raw text, and that way when I create these agents, now the agent can just reference that one article. But I guess still a work in progress, just like